Hello. This time we're going to be talking about finding letter names of notes on your guitar. There's a lot of reasons why you might want to know this. The first set of letter names that you really need to know are the names of the strings. And we have E, A, D, G, B, E. And the way you know that is if you ever go to buy another set of strings and you go to the music store, that's what you're going to end up with. An E, a low E, then you're going to have an A and a D and a G string and a B string and another E string, but this string is much higher sounding than that. But you hear a similarity between the outer two strings. They're both E's. That's basically where we're going to center everything today, okay? These E's. All right, well, the thing is, this low E, that is called your sixth string. And that's the one that's closest to your nose, we'll say, okay? And as you go down towards the floor, the numbers go down. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So this over here is your first string. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 coming up towards you. So far, so good? Okay, first string, sixth string, and you count it in between. So you have this low E. All right, and you have a high E. That means that the guitar is surrounded by E notes in this direction. So what we're going to do right now is we're going to explore where else you can find an E note. Now, eventually this is going to add up to something, but today it's just going to be interesting just from knowing the guitar angle, okay? We'll apply it to something as we go, all right? But it has to do with playing melody, with playing lead, with improvising, and a lot of other things. And you need to know your way around the fingerboard. Okay, so this E is the sixth string open, and what that means is you're not using your left hand to finger anything, it's just there. That's the sound you get when you play the string and no fingers on any frets. The first string is also an E, much higher, but again, an open string, no fingers. They have an E and an E at the open position. This is called the nut. Sometimes this is called the nut, but that depends on who you talk to. This is the nut of the guitar. Okay? All right, so the first fret is the space in between the nut and the first fret wire. This is not the fret. That's the fret wire. The fret is the space in between. So this whole space is the second fret, and this is the second fret wire. It's important to get this terminology down so that you can know where that's the seventh fret. And I want a note right there on the seventh fret. Okay? Well, okay, so if there is a note at the open position of E and E, then there also is the same letter names at the 12th fret. Now the 12th fret, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. On this guitar, the 12th fret is the one that meets the body. This is the 12th fret wire, and it is an extension of the body coming around. And that is the case on some guitars, but on other guitars, you will have a series of positioning dots. And at the 12th fret, there will be two of them. You usually have one on the 5th fret, sometimes on the 3rd, not always, usually on the 5th, usually on the 7th, occasionally on the 9th, and every time there will be a double dot or some kind of longer inlay, a little bar of something set into the neck to show you, oh, that's the 12th fret. Quite often it's in two pieces. It's just the way they designated it. And so when you put your finger into this fret, or this fret, you end up with an E note. Now that E note on the first string, again, is a much higher E, but it's still E. This, again, is a higher E, but it's still E. So you have E, 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 now know where 4 of them are. That's pretty easy. All right. There's a tuning method that I don't really care for, but it's useful to learn the guitar, to learn the notes on the guitar. If you place your finger on the 5th fret of the 6th string, right there, right? Can you see that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That 5th string, that 5th fret of the 6th string will be exactly the same note as the open 5th string A. That's an A note matching up with the open 5th string. Let me do that again. And if you play them together, it sounds like you played the same note twice, because you did. But you played it on 2 different strings. It's called a tuning fret. And sometimes you can use that to make sure that your string is in or out of tune. We'll talk about tuning some other time, but this is where you find certain notes. If you go up to the 5th fret of the 5th string, it's going to match the 4th string open. See what I just did there? There's the finger note, and there's the 4th string. And son of a gun, they match up. If you go up to the 5th fret of the 4th string, it will match the 3rd string. Are you seeing a pattern develop here? Hang on, gets squirrely here in a second. Okay, 5th fret, 4th string, matching up with the 3rd string. They're both G notes. If this is a G, then that's a G. Okay, so far so good? All right. Now, because of the way the guitar is tuned, and in order to make this E and this E turn into E's, an adjustment has to be made. All of a sudden, on the 3rd string, you go up only to the 4th fret to match up the next string. So that B string is matched up on the 4th fret, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4. So we've just gone 5 to the next string, 5 to the next string, 5 to the next string, 4 to the next string, and then we jump back to the 5th fret of the 2nd string to match the E note of the 1st string. Oh, look! We've just found another E on the 5th fret of the 2nd string. So now we have open, 12, open, 12, and tuning fret. You use this one instead of this one depending on what you need to do. If you wanted to slide to that note, you can't do that. There's no way to slide up to that note because there's no string over here. There's nothing left. So if you want to do that kind of a sound, you have to start from below it. Well, there is no below the nut. Yes, there's string over here, but doesn't make any difference if you touch it or not. Okay? So now we've got 5 different E's. Well, watch this. Okay? Here's the tuning fret for this string. That's an E. It is 5 frets above the open string. 5 frets. But this string has a tuning fret over here on the 4th fret. What happens if we take that note and move it up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 frets? Just like we did here, we're now going to do that here. And it's another E. I took this tuning fret and moved it over to there. Now I'm on the 3rd string at the 9th fret because, well, 4th fret plus 5 is 9. You guys are so sharp. That's good, okay? So this now matches up with this, okay? Now, here's a bit of a tricky one, all right? I'm just going to tell you this, that this D, I'm on the 5th fret of the 5th string, matches up with a D, okay? And it just so happens that the D note is 2 frets lower than an E note. This one I'm giving you for free, okay? It's an E note, okay? But that's 2 frets above the open string. Now, if there's an E note there, then there should be an E note 2 frets above the 12th fret on the 14th. And there is, and it matches the first string. So now I have this note on the 4th string, 14th fret, the 9th fret of the 3rd string, and the 5th fret of the 2nd string. Same exact pitch. Okay? Now we just set an E 2 frets above the D. Okay? 2nd fret, 4th string. But we have a tuning fret for that D string. And if this is 2 frets below this E, then this D is 2 frets below that E. So now we have an E on the 6th string twice. We have an E on the 7th fret of the 5th string once. We have an E on the 2nd fret of the 4th string D. That's an E, 2nd fret, and at 14. Then we have the E at the 9th fret on the 3rd string. Whoops, 9th fret. And then we have the E on the 5th fret of the 2nd string. And then we have the E open and the 12th fret. E, 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 E. I've just gone all over the fingerboard. And what we did was we set up a pattern, because in order to find this E and in order to find this E, I had to know where the D is. If I know that this is where it goes really kind of screwy, okay? But stay with me. If that's an E, this E is 2 frets above that D. So this E has to be 2 frets above a D. Ooh. Hear the similarity? If I know this is an E, then I know 2 frets below it is a D. Now I can't go to the E down here on the 6th string to the D because I ran out of string again. I got to the nut. There's no other string back there. I could retune the guitar in order to get that D, but I'm not going to do that today. That's another whole lesson. Okay. So anyway, this is something that you want to work on to get used to the idea that these notes are all over the place. Again, we will revisit this later to maybe do some blues improvisation, because if you're playing a blues and you want to break off and do something in, say, a blues in E, you better know where an E note is. Oh, well, you do. And you know where a D is. So I'm not even going to go into details about what I just did. But you see, these do have application. You can use them, and you will later, all right? So anyway, that's a little bit about notes. We will expand on that at a later lesson. Stay with me, and regardless, check out the other lessons right here on Facebook or on the website that you're on. And by all means, if you have any questions, or if there's a lesson that you want to see me explore, let me know that. Email me, private message through Facebook, contact me. I will respond. And until then, or until next time, have fun and keep playing.